Private living, Cgqm City, 10 December 2022. We will make your movement, have your conversation, and indeed, we will have something quite clear here as first thing. We are not in work with the Brazil, unfortunately, by circumstance. Since 2014, if you are doing an effort and had no cooperation with me and had no cooperation at the international forum and about security, you probably will remain at the security as a conjunct organization and institution until renew things inside and accept the purpose of premises at the organization you belong. We have the second thing. The organization that you belong is something like this. Sometimes is a macro organization with international activity in all areas, and you are here. And you do your activity since this period until the moment you deliver something. Can be a project, can be a prospect, can be a portfolio, can be all things as a system. And 2014, 2022, cut as division on work 2018. On 2014, did we had any kind of interference considering sports entity from Portugal in Brazil, Clube de Regatas Vasco da Gama? Did you have any kind of interference on 2018 considering the arguments at the systemic crime and the mobilization at the institution with trending oriented by corruption inside at the top until form a conjuncture of criminality? Considering that the public departments have the decision and the center has investment in Brazil public budget by the taxation misguided and misused, carrying corporate peers on it, maybe you will have clear that the public area is divided, public sector, on state institution, on democratic institutions, all guided by value -1. Common interest as corruption affected the democracy, affected the state. It's a treason against the state power. By this, we are not working with Brazil. We will check that the organization that you belong after you deliver something, and this organization has the interest to keep you, or you kind of have as the creator of something, you must be at this, but you have your own goals. Sometimes you'd like to get married, have kids, and will be kind of contract with the organization as itself, because indeed you are here and you probably will be connected with something here. If it's a prospect, then we will check that this entire thing will be connected here, and then this area here must explain to this area here what everything is all about to avoid problems. For instance, if you suddenly have to disappear and cut the relationship, you probably will understand that is like this. The third thing that you will have is, uh, talking with the antitrust justice. We'll try to have this on 7 minutes. This is our global activity. Our global activity has two types of interest. The interest square, the interest circle, and they divided the environment in squares, circles. We can have values attributed at this, or we can have qualities at this. And some global events scheduled, opened, failures at the circle as global decisions, and obvious that have failures at the sectorial decisions as quadrants, east and west or something like this. And these failures indeed until 1950s wouldn't and couldn't be properly under the reading of the machine that do a lot of things as big iron. But the machine could be optimized to read these failures as -1, a trending corrupting both sense and misguiding the direction of all things, misguided the mankind. It's a cultural destruction. You corrupted the integrity and the prospection of future as mankind by groups here, and we observe that indeed until you have this optimization and have properly applied, those groups obtained gains, advantage, took advantage of the entire global system, sometimes with a pandemic even or crime. And indeed this money is all illegal. Illegal. If goes at the regular area is like this. After God they had diverted and do the storage, supplied criminal activities. And the interest was so huge and you consider so sure commit crimes and have obstruction to protect crimes committed and blame the efforts or anything against this criminal purpose as the alliance between sides that are different but not different anymore if they are both corrupted. You had confirmed the situation before as the first thing to do the criminal purpose and use any kind of regular area already failed by corruption that is a criminal area, but you are unable to fight this. Starts with drugs, dependence, benefits, tax stimulus, and all things illegal. We will have the third thing and the mobilization that we must pick variables spread around with the integrity, but with the integrity unfortunately under suppression or oppression as something global. And this kind of thing, it's named the local responsiveness against the crime in a interconnected way from local corruption until have the pandemic mobilization, as you could observe, trouble the entire thing. And we will check now that when we got this indeed as a reply, it means that we suffered the aggression at first. We will have the mobilization, and indeed it's on our risk report today. It's like this. Of course that we have problems on areas trouble, especially when the problems is the institution that must solve the problem. We will have now that's the coordination of a system as applied indeed is a defense. So we must use one specific system as defense, with capacity to operate in global scale. The second thing we observe that we had players equally. They both are, you know, suffering the continuous decreasement as the capacity to operate by the loss of integrity at scenery that must provide the instruments to them. The company will have lower results or low skills as capacity to present real results. In their defensive system, lower investment applied by governments that kind of are misguided or misusing things. It's a pattern. Then we will check that this now as mobilization give me the idea as drivers. And I will consider that I will have programs too. And the relation drivers and programs will kind of help me to loop things back to my system. And I will now understand that this kind of thing is kind of the preparation, I would say, to have our investment system using the antitrust justice with a position clear. The first position, it's a local responsiveness. It's a defensive activity. It's a strategy at the financial system. We can observe that the reading indeed will have this vision as defense, this vision to create the intelligence required in the division of our matrix. We have players, we have defensive. The crosscut gives me the determinants that will feed the drivers with the capacity and the arguments to my program, run the activities, and of course have the authorization required in all levels until feedback our system, and then we are working with the responsiveness thing. The second thing that we will have, that this is our reading 2014 up to 2022 explained to the antitrust justice, that now will be part of the game as our investment system. You must have the petition as representative in Europe, or even the Department of Investigation at USA, considering our structure, to the antitrust justice research the credit, the who will receive, who will transfer, in which way, and this sets the intelligence need. We observe that this model here has things quite clear. Our investment system is positioned. We had the architecture as reading by the common-oriented business language as COBOL with new value, and allowing to drill down and do things with more complex just required by the users of informations provided by this system. The second thing, we had oriented by codes that are qualified and codified as punch cards at the financial desk, considering the departments and the players and all things we need. And we have a workflow set, in general will be the cash flow, and the division of things, storage, allowed to trace the origin, and have clear that the storage of something illegal without complaint is the association with the result and the criminality as itself. And this is kind of the idea of our workflow, the security plan 2022-2028. Idea is quite clear. Main premise is have a common field between purpose of one macro organization, your personal goals. Have a great weekend.